You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
3, 2, 1.
We are gathered here as advisors, as scientists.
The kind of place we expect a ghost to like to wander around.
Hey, we all know that we're going down, baby.
I'll help you. I'm something of a witch.
Welcome to Mission Spooky. I'm your fantastic host, JC, and with me today is the decent. Now I'm going out on a limb here, Kiki. Can you be decent today? It's an upgrade. Are you ready for this responsibility?
Wait, what's their definition of decent? Like, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, that's fine. I just mean decent at your job.
Yeah, I think I can do it. Yeah.
Okay, then with me today is the pretty decent Kiki.
We're going to be talking to you about a PA haunt known as the Headless Horseman of Paoli. We've decided to do a little bit of quarantine fun and let the squad choose this episode. Now, you guys had a few good ones to choose from in there. I'm surprised that you didn't pick the Ghost Wolf. The library came in second, which we will definitely be talking about both of those, but I think we're going to be doing the library sooner because it is extremely morbid subject. But I have to confess something.
What? I'm basically a pastor, so I can accept your confessions.
Okay, good. This makes me feel better.
Now tell me, child, what is bothering?
Okay, listen, I added the Headless Horseman because I just found out that, and I'm being extremely serious here, like I literally just found out like 3 days ago that my great-great-great-grandmother was Beata Helena Eriksdotter Palm Roos, who murdered a Swedish farmer by planting an axe squarely in his head.
Did she plant a hatchet and then grow into an actual axe?
Well, so I was kind of going for a little pun there, since he was a Swedish farmer and she planted the axe in his head.
I didn't like that, so I went with mine. Mine was better.
Yeah, yours is terrible. Anyway, her and the gang of thieves, including her husband, my great-great-great-grandfather, were sentenced to death. And she was known as the last female beheaded by guillotine in Sweden. Although I just read an account in Norwegian about her that says that she was beheaded by sword. But either way, yeah, she's my family. By the way, she murdered the farmer because the Norwegians didn't have a lot of food at the time and they were raiding Swedish farms for food because why not? And I could seriously kill somebody right now for some sushi. I also found out that her son then was a very famous Norwegian folk musician. And there's a book written by him. It is written in Norwegian. I am currently trying to translate it. Yay, my Viking family. I love them so much. Okay, so today's topic, though, we're talking about other headless people. So basically, I'm going to tell you guys the story as was told by someone who recounted seeing the Headless Horseman of Paoli. And then we're going to nerd out a little bit about history of the area in an attempt to explain the Headless Horseman. Hold on to your butts. First off, JC, where the hell is Paoli?
In Pennsylvania. Did I do it? Did I get it right?
You did good.
Wait, where the hell is, how do you spell it? P-I-O-L-I-E-E-E.
I'm so excited to tell you guys about where Paoli comes from because I bet not even people who live there or even live in Philadelphia know where the hell this name came from. If you did know before I tell you, I dare you to send me a private message on Twitter.
Okay.
Paoli is 30 minutes outside of downtown Philadelphia.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, because you're looking at Google. The town grew up around an inn that was built there in 1769, and it was owned by Joshua Evans, whose father, like Everyone else in this time period bought their land directly from William Penn, 500 acres to be exact. Evans named the inn after the Corsican general Pascal Paoli, who, by the way, has a pretty amazing life story, which we are not going to get into right now. The inn became a meeting place for the Sons of Liberty, which hopefully most of our listeners know was the secret revolutionary organization founded by Sam Adams. The last time the Headless Horseman of Paoli was recorded as being seen was on September 22nd, 1934, and it was by a prominent doctor in the area, Anthony Wayne Ball. His account was taken pretty seriously because of his status in the community and because he was a man of science. Ball explained the scene like this. He was walking along Darby Road when a rider on a horse approached swiftly. What caught him off guard was that there was no sound of pounding hooves, just silence. As the rider came barreling towards him, he saw that he was wearing a Revolutionary War uniform and was riding so fast that his coattails flew behind him. Of course, he was headless. Coming in contact with the doctor, the rider came to a halt, and Ball could see that a sword was at his side. The rider did not offer his head, which indicated to the doctor that he wasn't in any danger of dying. And then he vanished. Apparently, this story goes back almost a century, with some unfortunate souls being offered the head of the horseman, and those that were died shortly after. Okay, so yay, history time. And you know what, guys? This is the kind of history that Kiki likes. Do you know why?
Because JC gets to take a nap and shut up?
No, you don't want to take a nap during this. This is good shit.
Do people die?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stay.
In horrible ways.
I'll stay.
And it's also my favorite kind of death. It's Revolutionary War death.
Okay.
So
why is that your favorite kind of death?
Because historically speaking, the Revolutionary War is my favorite time period to study. We're in the middle of the Revolutionary War. The whole area that we're going to be discussing, including Paoli, is the site of many, many horrific deaths. The Americans are coming off of defeat at the Battle of Brandywine, which our listeners should know by now because we have a few previous episodes in which I specifically talked about the Battle of Brandywine and other haunted locations. The Battle of Brandywine takes place about a 7-hour walk from Paoli. Now I'm going to talk about walking times and distances so that you guys understand, because we didn't have cars in the 1700s.
I mean, maybe you didn't. I definitely did.
You had, at this time period, the unidentified dead being buried by the dozens in shallow graves near the Birmingham Meeting House, which is about a 4-hour walk from Paoli, so really not that far away. And then you have the Battle of the Clouds, which personally, not only is it a fantastic name for a battle, but it's one in which General Howe, who again I've talked about him too, especially in the Revolutionary War, he really regretted at this point not taking out Washington's army when he had the chance right after the Battle of Brandywine. I mean, he could have cleaned up, so to speak, and or at the very least sent the remaining forces into Philadelphia, cutting off their supplies from Reading. But the British were just as tired as the Americans. We then have the Battle of the Clouds, right, which is completely sucked for everybody.
That sounds like a cool, like, Star Wars thing. Like, I could see in, like, a sci-fi, the Battle of the Clouds happened.
Yeah, well, you think of, like, Bespin.
Yeah, Cloud City.
Yeah, Cloud City. So we have the Battle of the Clouds. It completely sucked for everyone because nobody checked the weather.
Well, did they have, like, it
yeah,
app downloaded on their phones?
They could have checked through the almanac at this time, yes. Poor Richard's almanac actually had a pretty good weather statistics at this point.
If you say so.
If I say what?
So.
Yeah. Okay, so the British meet up with columns of Hessian Jagers. We all know what a Jager is, right?
Actually, no.
Jagers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And could have very well been a force to be reckoned with, except that it rained and rained and rained. And nobody won because nobody could fucking move. It was like sloshing through wet sand. which was actually kind of good for the Americans. Then just 10 days later, and this is all happening within the same area here. We're talking about 7 to 4 hour walk around Paoli. Then we finally get to what the Americans will call the Paoli Massacre, in which General Charles Grey, and yes, of Earl Grey tea, used the help of a loyalist spy to come up on unsuspecting Americans who at the time were led by General Anthony Wayne. They come up with them during the night. General Grey orders his troops to remove the flint from all of their muskets so as to not have an accidental discharge that would alert the enemy of their presence. Using only bayonets, they stab the soldiers in their sleep. General Grey goes on to be called, I think his nickname was like No Flint Grey because of this particular battle. The whole idea was it was pitch black. They have a spy. And okay, if you guys have not seen Turn on, I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, the show Turn is amazing and is about this very thing. That up until this point, the British had spies all over on the American side. And so a spy tells them exactly where General Anthony Wayne is staying. The massacre winds up being a little bit overplayed by the Americans, who then use it as a rallying cry for the rest of the war. Like, remember Paoli! Yeah. So it was pretty awful. Either way, I think it was, the statistics are somewhere about 56 men die at the massacre, with over 100 being wounded. So not really a nice way to go out.
No.
I will give you this little addendum here to General Wayne, who goes on to be called General Mad Wayne, because he takes his revenge on the British by scaling the fortifications of Stony Point on the Hudson River, and just as Grey had done, took no prisoners, quote unquote, bayoneting everything that moved in a mere 30 minutes. The Americans killed 96 British and captured 472 prisoners. 30 minutes. No muskets, bayonet only. Yeah, if that's not hardcore metal military strategy, holy shit, he got his revenge. Like, plus. Back to the Battle of or Massacre of Paoli. Interestingly enough, I could not find any specificity when it came to beheadings during that particular military strike. But there is absolutely no doubt that there was a lot of death in that immediate area. You basically had about 10 days of battles and military maneuvers. I'm basically saying that I couldn't find anything to definitely refute it, nor could I find anything that would back up this particular legend.
Essentially, you couldn't find any fact either way. So essentially what we're saying is this is 100% true, guys, and Kiki's willing to put her reputation on the line for it.
Oh, shit. I don't know about that.
I just said it, so it has to be done.
I will say this. It's one of those legends that is well over 100 years old. And it fits into the model of the area, that there are plenty of possibilities of Revolutionary War soldiers being... And by the way, the Revolutionary War, I think I may have failed to mention the fact that it was definitely a Revolutionary War soldier on the American side, not British. Oh, and the sword. I want to go back and talk about that for a minute. See, this is where there's not a lot of evidence as far as I could not find any beheadings that happened during this particular time period, like these battles specifically. But I did think it was interesting that the horse rider does fall into the category of an officer in the Revolutionary War on the American side. Officers usually were on horseback, and specifically military officers on the American side would have a saber. So he would have been carrying a sword. Now, of course, in 1934, anyone would have had privy to this information could easily have made something up, but the legend kind of goes back 100 years of this particular guy riding up and down this area in Paoli. I don't know. By the way, since the last known sighting was September 22nd, I'm thinking, JC, that a trip to Paoli on September 22nd might be in the work. Do a little bit of scientific research.
Sounds good. I'm down for that. I'm always down to be sent places to experience ghosts and paranormal stuff for the betterment of our podcast.
All right, so today our musical guest is Exoset,
That's an interesting name.
right? Which is actually our new podcast friend, Adam Sloan. We've already featured him once before with his band Zagreus. You guys might remember that from a few episodes back. Adam is just amazing. He has so many bands, and we're going to be featuring music from him from all of his bands. So Exoset is rather new, and this one's called Database because I thought it just had a really cool sound to it. And it's from his new album called Electronic Gargoyle.
Nice.
I know, right? The name is like killer. That's available on Bandcamp, and you will notice, since it is a brand new album, that Mission Spooky is the first supporter of Exoset. I'm so happy about that. Okay, so go to Bandcamp, check out Exoset, which is spelled Exoset. And when we come back, shoutouts and Mission Spooky Squad news.
What is a man? Enough talk. How about you? Out of reach, free from the eye of the database. Only thought faster than light can win this race.
All right, welcome back, Spooksters.
Welcome back, guys.
If you want to join the squad, head on over to patreon.com/Mission Spooky. We have tiers at the $1 and $5 level. One single buck is going to get you our undying gratitude and shout out on the cast and access to our booper reels because I completely changed setup so you guys get extra stuff at even $1 single. My shout out today is to a place some of our listeners will know because I do know that I have my faithful, my friends, my dearest to my heart, living in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I spent 20 years of my life, and I still miss certain aspects of it. And one of those aspects is the infamous Acme Comics. These guys have been just amazing and staying on top of everything for so long that even though I now live up here in PA, again, I don't have my pull list anywhere else anymore except with just Acme Comics. I don't care if I have to pay to have it shipped home. So if you are trying to get into comics, if you love comics already, but don't really know where to go from here because, you know, maybe you've only been buying stuff new, Jermaine over at Acme Comics, otherwise known as Lord Retail, is the man. He knows everything. Like, I know a lot about comics, but no, this guy's like a god. Okay. I would also like to mention at this point that for the first time in a while, Acme is back in podcasting, and their podcast is called Acme Cast, ACMECAST, and I think they're on episode 8 right now. I cannot stress enough the knowledge that these guys have. And it's not just in comics either, because Jermaine also talks Godzilla, which one of my favorites. So yeah, anyway, Acme Comics. All right. If you have any Pennsylvania or New Jersey-based ghost stories, please send them to us. missionspookypodcast@gmail.com. You can also feel free to ask us any questions or comments on any of our previous episodes. If you are a PA, New Jersey, or Delaware band, or you just own your own music and you'd like to be featured on the podcast, just like Exoset, yeah, just get in touch with us. You can email us. You can get in touch with me directly on Instagram or Twitter. And you can find all of our musical guests on Spotify by typing in Mission Spooky 2020 in the search bar. We are continually adding to that list, and we've got some really cool contacts right now, too. So we're looking for some new bands. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, like I said, and at our Facebook page, which JC rules with.
An iron fist of passion.
You always cut out when you say compassion.
Okay.
I feel like you don't really mean it.
I don't.
Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. Just remember to be kind. Also, rate and review us on Podchaser. And taking us out once again is Exoset with their song Database, which you can find on Bandcamp. So, guys, just remember, stay spooky and don't die. But if you do, contact us.
If you could, contact us via, and this is very important, shadow puppet shows.
What?
Shadow puppet shows, yeah. That's all the rave. That's the newest way of communicating.
Only thought faster than light can win this human race. Dropped in, forced to behave. Ripples of tumultuous ocean waves. Shallow waters boiling the air. Toward caskets of screaming skeletons. They're running circles for a lifetime. Comforted by familiar scenes. Tricked by the physics. Built to produce the need for seeds. They try to love the grade of the breed. Steadily the inside seethes. Until the moment before the grave they say, hey, was there more to me? Out of reach, free from the eye of the database. Only thought faster than light can win this race. Out of reach, free from the watchful eye of the database. Only thought faster than light can win this human race. What is a man? Database. A miserable little pile of secrets. Database.
I am tired of her.
Database. What is a man?
I am tired of her. I am tired of her.
Database.
I am tired of her. These people, tired of being caught in the tangle of their lives.
Database. Database.
Caught in the tangle of their lives.
Database. Database. But enough talk.
Caught in the tangle of their lives.
Database. Database. Enough talk.